Year 11-12 was quite a landmark year for us in TAFE, and I'd like to share with you on this occasion some major highlights. Our consolidated revenues, and I say consolidated revenues, I'm talking TAFE and its subsidiaries, have crossed the 8,000 crore mark at 8,020 crores, up from 6,149 last year, giving a revenue growth of about 30.4%. Our volumes grew from 117,000 in 10-11 to 148,112 in 11-12. The domestic market, I think this was one of the most interesting years. In the domestic market, it was interesting and challenging. I think in the first half of the year, we saw really very robust growth rates for the industry. And for the period April through October, industry grew briskly. 19.8% was our industry growth for the period April to October, and we grew 26.9%. From then on, the challenge changed. From November, industry growth rate slowed and sharply turning to negative in the fourth quarter, January through March. And just share quickly some numbers. In November, industry slowed down to 8.9%, and we continued to grow robustly at 37.5%. In December, industry slowed further to 5.2%, and we clocked 22.4%. In January, at 1.9% industry growth, and we were 23.4%. In February, stocks had begun to pile. Industry turned negative 8.2% in February, and we've continued with a favorable positive growth rate of 21.9%. And in March, while our industry estimates, these are our estimates, till February our published figures, till March our estimates, industry dropped 4.5% negative, and our figures, we grew 37.7%. And that made it a cumulative growth rate of 26.6% as against a growth of 11.4% for the year ended March. We had a very nice and smart increase in market share of about 3% in a very highly competitive market, mature, competitive market with both brands, the MF TAFE brand as well as the Aisha brand, growing in market share. On the exports front, we continue to hold our position as the country's largest exporter of tractors for 3 years in a row now, and with a share of country's export share being per 28.77%. We now market, during the year we expanded our range of countries and now market in over 73 countries. And for the first time, I think our export turnover crossed 1,000 crores to touch approximately 1,200 crores of exports. If you look at the market itself, and some of you here are very, very familiar with the tractor market, and you follow it closely and quite deeply, to comment on the segment-wise growth in the industry, we saw the 41 to 50 HP segment and the above 50 HP segment grow more strongly than the lower HP segments. Although the 31 to 40 HP continues to remain the largest segment in the industry, we saw the growth, we saw a marginal shift in preference to 41 to 50 and to above 50 HP segments. Those were the segments that grew rapidly, and I think one of the major contributory factors for our own much better than market performance has been that some of the new products that you saw outside, we have them on display there, the 7250 product, the MF 9000 product. The new products that we've launched have actually had excellent customer response. They've been in these growing segments, 41 to 50 HP segment is where these products are positioned. They've met with excellent customer response. And the Aisha range, we expanded the Aisha. Aisha has been traditionally known to be a small HP player. And I think we have, over the last 2 years, successfully changed that positioning, when the expanded range of Aisha, which used to be only in the below 25 HP, and now goes up to 50 up to 55 actually, but the expanded product range in the 30 to 50 HP products, the whole range of new features and products have enabled us to make the iSure brand transition from being a small HP player to a much more full range player in the market. Today, we are also launching for the month of April. From April, we are launching the MF 9500 product, which you've seen outside. It's a product that is positioned in the 55 HP segment, the fastest growing segment in the industry today. And I think it is in terms of performance, fuel efficiency, comfort, and a very one of your colleagues here made a very smart observation, and he said, very observant, and said, "You have increased the height of these tractors, haven't you?" I said that was a really minute observation, and it's true. We've responded by a variety of things that meet raising, including the ground clearance, raising it to meet the Indian farmers' expectations. So if you see, the entire products that are the Indian products are quite different from our export products, and have been tailored to meet the Indian farmers' requirements. So we launched this 9500 series. I think it's the best in class in terms of comfort and ergonomics, fuel efficiency, and performance. Today, we are very proud to say that 68% of our sales comes out of products that have been launched in the last 3 years, what we classify as new products. Mr. Vishwanathan, remember the days when product life cycles in the tractor industry were very long. No longer so. I think customers are very aware of technology. They want continuous improvements in performance and productivity. And our products today are, in terms of performance and fuel efficiency of the product, at par with any or better than others in the world in the less than 100 HP segment. So 68% of our products actually come from new products. And I think this story of products, expanded product range, and new products has really driven our market growth. There were some questions I had, so I'll try to address that earlier today in terms of the MF versus the iSure positioning in the market. I think in the MF and TAFE and some markets, in the Indian market, we market Massey Ferguson MF products or TAFE products as MF mostly in the Indian market. And in the international export market, we do in both brands, the TAFE brand and the Massey Ferguson brand. And in countries and both of which have been very successful, and with market shares going up to between 50 and 60% in the markets that we brand it as TAFE and sell the products. So we've had an excellent response on the brand. The way we position that brand, our brand positioning there is truly what you see on the tagline, trying to cultivating the world. So technological leadership is our focus in the Massey Ferguson and TAFE brands, with an emphasis on performance, both on the field, off the field. You saw the loader version over there, so we've tried to make them more versatile with some emerging applications in the infrastructure sector and operator comfort. I think this is what perhaps defines our offering in the MF brand. Whereas in the iSure brand, our tagline would go, "Umeed se zyada," would be our tagline in the iSure brand, which will simply say we are trying to position this as good value for money. And this is the difference and the way we're playing the market. In the export, there was a question earlier today about in export, do you focus on, what are the kind of technologies that we focus on? In export, our focus is on offering variety of features, and I think we can talk about them later, a variety of features, and a focus on emission, noise, and safety, which is what is really driving demand for us in the export markets. And all our products have been homologated for EU and the American market. Looking ahead, our view is perhaps best termed as cautiously optimistic. And I will add to this, the caution is more related to an overall short-term industry outlook, while the optimism stems from our assessment of the structural changes that are happening in the marketplace and more a company-specific perspective. Let me set this in context. The medium and long-term indications for growth are quite positive. An analysis, if we look at the drivers of demand, it's quite clear. Economic growth in general and schemes like NREGA have led to a structural change in the agricultural labor market. And I think that's here to stay. That's not going to go away. Rising labor costs, shortage of labor, strongly favor mechanization, and that's going to continue to happen. So far, the second implication is that so far, mechanization was restricted to perhaps a few operations in agriculture. But we see that expanding to better soil preparation, harvesting, and post-harvesting. Policy initiatives, like we do hope the FDI and the multi-brand retail will come through, and when that comes through, we think it's going to have a very favorable impact on farm income, on farmer income, and hence investment in mechanization. The budget also has a number of welcome features that are aimed at creating a sustainability in agricultural growth. Directly impacting our sector, plan outlay for agriculture has been increased by 18%. We have a creation, and more very interesting, I think, is beginning to address this issue of food grain storage. We have a creation of food grain storage capacity of nearly 15 million tons, and an interest subvention for post-harvest. This is one of the key issues for post-harvest loans that will minimize the fluctuation in prices for our farmers. They can hold the stock and sell it when the prices are a bit better, and the increase in accelerated irrigation funding of 13%. These schemes, if well implemented, are strongly favor of mechanization. So in terms of the medium to long-term impact, given the structural changes that are happening in the market, we are quite bullish. What then accounts for this softening in demand that we are seeing for the last few months? And this softening in demand can really be attributed more to prices. Food grain prices in the market, minimum operating prices in many areas lower than support prices. Sugarcane areas, we're talking about arrears to be settled, export ban on cotton, and of course the elections as well. All of these have kept the market down, and the monsoon still plays an important role. As we come into the April to July season, I think the monsoon will also play an important role. For us as a company, we have de-risked ourselves with respect to domestic demand with a substantial amount of exports, but the global outlook is important as well. Just to give a quick idea, the global sale of tractors is an estimated, including India and China, which are the largest markets. The global sales of tractors is about 13.8 lakh units, is the global sale of tractors. And the outlook for 2012 is, 2011 was much better in the global agricultural tractor market than 2010. Volumes came back. And as we go forward into the year, we're looking at North America continuing to remain at historically high levels as strong farm fundamentals are continuing in North America. Europe bounced back in 2000 level, but we expect that it's going to just hold in Europe, not expected to go up, and growth expected to be high in Asia and parts of Eastern Europe. South America, with farmer profitability being somewhat down, South America expected to degrow marginally. Against this context, setting all this together and with the role that Indian tractors are today playing in international markets, we are projecting our call on the industry growth is in the region of about 8 to 10% for 12-13. Our own growth plans, today we are operating at really full capacity, full. All our plants literally bursting at our seams. We are at full capacity, and we believe that with our product launches and with the pull that we are having, we've got great customer response for our products. With the product responses that we are getting to product, with the increased distribution strength, and with the export demand being quite strong, we expect demand for our products to outpace market demand in both the domestic and in the export markets. And in order to gear ourselves up for this, we will, there are 3-4 major initiatives. One is an investment in additional capacity, which we're about at Madurai, It's an additional plant that will come at Madurai for about 60,000 tractors annually. Second, we will expand the product range up to, we have talked about this earlier, that we're working on expanding the product range between 85 and 105 horsepower, and we will commence shipments of these products. Will commence during this year, in the 85 to 100 HP to our international customers. There is not a local demand for that segment, so it's purely an export demand, to our international customers in the second half of the year. We will meet, we did come out a few weeks ago with our announcement on our alliance with Captain Tractors, and this is aimed at meeting the emerging needs of special purpose application tractors. So we will take that forward during the year. And I had earlier talked about joint product development with, between AGCO and TAFE on a World Tractor Series between 50 and 125 horsepower. We call the Centurion product. We will productionize the Centurion World Tractor. It's a new platform for international markets by the middle of next year, second calendar quarter of 13. Is that right? Yeah, second quarter, and this is for export markets. 2013 is an important year in the international markets with new emission norms cutting in Europe and in North America. And we will develop, and we are in the process of development and testing. We will launch from January 2013 products that will meet the changed and far more stringent emission requirements in Europe and North America. So we're therefore very confident that we will maintain the momentum of growth that we have seen during this year in the year ahead as well. Thank you very much for being with us today, for all your support, and we'd be happy to take any